Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please hit the subscribe button if you like the way any of the topics, subjects are being broken down, discussed, or analyzed. Any of the recaps or reviews, hitting that like button would be appreciated 3,000%. Love to chop it up with you on any of this stuff. Look, I don't always do these. I don't always talk about stuff for clicks. Mainly, I'm looking for conversation and just throwing a lifeline out there to see if there are any like-minded individuals, that are passionate about the same thing. And I actually thought I stumbled across a record, an album that was recent. And I've been listening to a lot of music as I've been walking lately in my neighborhood, and I got back and looked up when this album was released, and this joint is 8 years old. It came out in 2012, I believe. The project is called Gas Mask from The Left and Apollo Brown, and I thought The Left was two MCs, but I think actually The Left is kind of just a combination of this rapper journalist 103 and producer Apollo Brown from Detroit. And I mentioned this a while ago that I felt like Detroit had kind of oddly taken over the kind of hip hop that no longer lives in New York City, with so many of the MCs talking about the dope game, street life, and all of these stronger, edgier subjects. The Busta Rhymes of the world. A Keith Murray type. Nobody's really coming to mind. The Brand Nubians. A Tribe Called Quest, leaders of the new school, guys that are just spitting De La Soul. Those guys aren't growing in New York anymore. And I thought some of these different Detroit rappers, and at least and also the style of music, as a lot of New York guys were flirting with sounding like down south or southwest. And that's kind of changed. I've been mentioning this on a lot of the reviews that I've been doing lately. That it's like deep, back to deep New York sounds right now. But this album, man, The Left, is really phenomenal. And I don't want to. I don't even know what happened with this kid. But one thing that's going on here is the money that was spent and the production that Apollo Brown provides is spectacular. I mean, it's some real heat on here in terms of the sound, the beats, and the samples, the arrangement. I mean, it's smoking. And then Journalist 103, man, I haven't heard anything of him in the last several years, but I would liken him to maybe like a CJ McCollum. He can get you 21 or 22 a night. I mean, his pen is really not that bad. Very solid dude. And what I like is he gets out onto the record is 19 tracks. The deluxe edition is 19 tracks. Looks like it was only 16 on the original. So they came back with this deluxe. I'm not sure when the deluxe version was released, but it's a couple of joints on here that I have as 4 stars. Gas Mask being the second joint. It has like an intro cut, I believe. I didn't write down the name of that, but Gas Mask is saying, me being 45 in a few weeks, Journalist is hitting on everything that I'm talking about with who we're appreciating. This is why I thought it was so new. He's saying everything that I want to say and want to yell at the industry with some of the junk that's out there. And he has some line in there about real songs don't even matter anymore. Real feelings, real thoughts. You don't even need any of that anymore. You can just get out here with some dance, get some dance attached to it, tell some lies, and it's real honest rap. And I think he does and the production on Gas Mask, the second track on the album, I believe, it's these horns that are chopped up and well placed. And all throughout the album, it's these different chants or choruses from like not weird sources, but just taken from interesting things. The samples are all layered and it's all kind of stuff shifting around. And Apollo, this is a masterpiece from Apollo Brown, real talk. But then, like I said, Journalist 103 is not a slouch. So when he gets off on Gas Mask, like I said, the theme of the album is you need this gas mask because we're basically living in this apocalyptic, this wasteland where it's all bullshit. Is basically what he's saying. And you need a gas mask it's like the Book of Eli. And so the first two songs, the second song is called Battle Axe. Some organs on the track or something all chopped up. But he's kind of like going hard at like the BS rap that's out there. And the lies, the people selling listeners these dreams. And, talking about the common subject matter that's selling. And I'm like, you can do this, but at some point, you can't preach too much and he's got the skills to do it and make this sound interesting. But my fear is that if you overdo it, people are going to start laughing you off as a hater. And like, you actually got to be able to rap about, you can't come out and just take shots at the people that are winning. You actually got to get on your own game. And that's what makes somebody like a Busta Rhymes back in the day dope. That's why J. Cole is winning. He's actually getting on his subjects and making the points that he wants to make without solely pointing the finger at others. And so when I got through the first two songs, I was like, well, are you going to shift away from this and actually get to spitting? You going to rap about some other things? And he gets into doing that. But actually, man, Gas Mask, Battle Axe is the third track. Binoculars is the fourth track. It's somewhat okay. I got like 3 stars for that one. How We Live is okay. Chokehold is the next song. The beats on all of those make you keep listening. And then, like I said, Journalist isn't disappointing you with his lyrics and the points that he's making. You get The Funeral, for me, is like track 6 or 7. That one is where like this new voice and this new dude is it gets off of that hot streak that the album opened with. But I like something in there. He opens it up with a lot of BS music out here that's really toxic for you. And that's what I've been mentioning in a lot of my reviews, man. I like a lot of this stuff. A lot of it's dope. And I'm ODing on a lot of it in terms of how much time I'm spending with that stuff. But I'm already in my career and doing what I'm doing. I've already got an X amount of money in the bank, savings plans, got a couple vehicles. I'm in I'm already good. So nothing is like gonna have me take some terrible turn out here in the streets trying to chase something and be something that I'm not and mess around and have my life messed up. So this doesn't really hurt me to listen to a lot of the Griselda stuff that I'm talking about. I said the other day, listening to some of the Griselda projects and the 38 Special, these are like new seasons of Ozark, but solely focused on the cartel or something. But he says, that's what I'm on. A lot of this music is toxic for some people in some communities. And I don't think, but nothing is worse than some of the stuff that's on the radio and the more reckless stuff with really no real thought to it whatsoever. Statistics is a really dope joint. The beat is fire. And then this, I think it's a female MC. I don't think that's a man. But her name is Invincible. Man, she comes in and drops a verse with all of these statistics that are still the same 8 years later. Crime rates, violent crimes by black men. I don't think she gets into abortion. She makes a comment on abortion or something. Broken homes, the family structure in the black community being challenged. I mean, but she does it ain't real preachy though. It's slick how she introduces all of these statistics in there. The next joint is called The Melody. He gets into talking about his thoughts on relationships and how it kind of relationships can ground a man, but they also are challenging in his line of business because he has to be on the go so much. And then based on the type of rap that he's in, he's probably not getting that commercial, those commercial sales to make this worth it. So it's a labor of love. I don't have much for the reporting live joint. Oh, on the reporting live, Guilty Simpson is actually on that one, and he labels this just what I feel it is. He says this is rebel music in the verse. He says something. This is rebel music, fight the oppression music, and a couple other. Oh, yeah, and that's kind of what this is. It's really it's rebel music, you know, and you it's almost like Get Free, Dead Prez. It's almost in that vein. The next joint is really short. It's called Food for Thought. And so on there, it's like an introspective song. He's talking about what's the purpose of life. Is it just us out here trying to get ice? It's a real short song, but a real dope record. There's another joint called Cage Birds. I got 3 stars for that one. But then you get into a couple of, and I'm getting ready to close this down, but you get into a couple of real bangers in this joint called Homage, featuring Frank West. And I'm wondering if this sample on here is kind of reused on the Sky Zoo joint, the Easy Truth, I think it's called. But this Homage beat is kind of like that. That was one of my favorite records off of that project with Apollo Brown and Sky Zoo. But Homage is dope. And then what would have closed out the original album, Get In Where You Fit In, has a real dope Billy Dan's sample. Get In Where You Fit In from M.O.P. But that song to close out the regular album would have been dope. I have 4 stars for that one. And then so let's get into 3 songs with the for the deluxe edition that make it the deluxe edition. The first song 17 is a joint called Scared. I got like 3 stars for that one. The next joint is called My Green, and it's talking about something about money from a positive or a realistic perspective. What people do for money, how people waste money, how money changes people. The beat is kind of familiar. I couldn't recall exactly who used it before, but that's the only track on here, and it's all sample driven, I believe. But that's the only familiar beat that I came across. And then it closes out with the joint called One Day, which is pretty solid as well. And that's, like I said, the album is pretty consistent, man, where everything on here, I pretty much believe is like 3 stars on the beat, 3.5 stars, with about 4 that are standouts. So, man, I just think it's worth a really good listen. I went and checked on Apollo Brown's catalog because I thought the As God Intended, I believe, is the project with Apollo Brown and Shay Noir. And I went to go see if that was really if the entire project was out, and it doesn't come out until July 10th, which incidentally is my birthday. So that's what I was looking for. And then when I saw this Gas Mask, the album cover, I was like, well, let me check. It was up at the top of the list. I was like, let me check it out. Hour later or so, I see that it came out in 2012. But I completely missed it. And I think it's a really dope project, man. And like I said, Detroit has a lot of interesting artists up there, a lot of interesting rappers. And being that it's here in the Midwest, that gives it's that ability for Detroit rappers to pull from New York, pull from down south, pull from out west. You know, they have all these different influences, and we just do some interesting things in the Midwest when you got a person that's really in tune with, you know, with like traditional hip hop. So yeah, man, Journalist 103, man, I had to salute that dude. 8 years later, better late than never. And then Apollo Brown, man, is one of the like I said, the beats on here are phenomenal, man. I mean, my goodness. Wow. So that's it, man. Let me get on off here. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Pay me no mind. It costs you nothing. One.